Welcome to Machine God Eats, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Darling. The year is almost over, which means that the new year is upon us. And every year, a lot of us come up with these goals for ourselves that we hope to accomplish in the next year. However, some of us don't implement the actions behind those wishes and goals we have for ourselves in order to accomplish those things. So, with the year coming to a close, did you accomplish the things that you set out to accomplish in 2025? Do you feel like you've been a victim of 2025? Did 2025 put a monkey wrench in your plans, either through finances, relationships, or just the fact that you just had to self-soothe? I'm going to talk about that a lot in this video, okay? A lot of times we don't accomplish our goals, and I'm talking about myself. I'm speaking uh, from a perspective of myself, but I'm sharing my experience because I know a lot of people can relate. A lot of times we don't accomplish our goals. It isn't because of outside forces or because the world is against us, or because our luck is bad. A lot of times we don't accomplish the things that we set out to accomplish because we never had a clear vision for what our goals were in the first place. It's easy to say, okay, next year from this point in time, I want to live in a house. But if I don't implement a plan from this point on to that point, how the hell am I going to get in a house? The universe isn't just going to knock on my door and deliver me a house. There has to be action put behind those wishes in order to get there, which is great. And a lot of times we get stuck. A lot of us, 8 hours out of the day at least is dedicated to going and working on somebody's clock. And they're only going to give you so much money to accomplish those goals. So you have to, outside of that, find time in order to carve out a future for yourself. And it's very difficult to do. And in doing so, you become exhausted. You become anxious. You become depressed. You become angry. You become despondent, right? And in order to deal with that, a lot of us self-soothe every year, every year. And if you've been following this channel for any significant amount of time, you would know that every year I talk about, oh, I need to quit sugar. Sugar, 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 sugar. Sugar's been one of the biggest things that has hindered me from certain goals of mine that I don't care to share too much here. But also due to the fact that I'm getting older, and a lot of men my age take in a lot of unnecessary calories. I have a very unhealthy relationship with Rockstar energy drinks, meaning I drink at least two or three of those a day. That is 300 empty calories of bullshit that I put into my body each can. 900 empty calories a day, making my body believe that I need an extra 1,000 calories off of 3 cans of BS. Unnecessary. And going into older age, I'm 43 now. Pretty soon I'll be pushing 50. I don't want my heart giving out on me. This is the age where people start to develop maladies and diseases and stuff. And if you don't take care of your physical being, you have to get those things out of your life. And that's why sugar has been such a hard thing for me to quit. And a lot of you guys know I became a vegetarian back in January after my dad died, and I haven't craved meat since. I don't ever plan on eating meat again. It just doesn't appeal to me that way. Plus, it's a promise I made to God for personal spiritual reasons why I don't want to eat meat. It has nothing to do with anybody. I'm not judging anybody, but I've been able to keep up with that. That's not a problem. But when it comes to sugar, it's one of the hardest things in the world to quit. The second thing, at least for me, as far as self-soothing, and I'm saying these things, I've told you why sugar has been a detriment, as far as certain goals, as far as like my health going forward, if there's any diseases or anything that arise because of the abuse that I've done to my body through sugar, through all of this candy, all of these energy drinks, all of this soda throughout the day, that obviously will hinder any other goals that I have going forward because I didn't have the discipline to quit sugar. That is a big thing of mine. And that has been a hindrance. I'll give y'all the inside baseball. So I'm not gonna talk about it. But let's say, for instance, one of my goals is selling products and stuff. You look better selling products. I'm talking about fitness products, stuff that I do like, stuff that does work for me, but it comes off as better when you show that you have discipline in other avenues. I work out all the time, and I have workout equipment, and there are certain supplements and stuff that I think are beneficial to the body. But if my body doesn't like show that because I'm also putting in all this sugar, how the fuck is anybody going to want to buy products from me that way? You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking about over on the other platforms and stuff like that. How does that work? It doesn't. It's because of my lack of discipline. And there's a lot of money that I left on the table due to my lack of discipline in that way. Then we go into pornography. Pornography is a big way that a lot of us males self-soothe and a lot of things. And there's a lot of salacious content when we pick up our phone, even when we're not trying to look for it. And I've talked about this a lot when you get on Instagram, when you get on some of these sites, and these women are presenting themselves in such a sexy way, you are a biological creature that is attracted to that. Sometimes you got to go and you got to get one off. It just is what it is. And ladies know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not putting it on them. They need to make their money where they need to make their money. I'm not trying to demonize them for that, but I'm just saying it is a lot out there. You be on one side that ain't got nothing to do with that. Come across some stuff, and all of a sudden you got your dick in your hand, you greased up. You know what I'm saying? You pleasing yourself in order to get to self-soothe. Now you didn't, you know, exploded your seed all over the fucking place, and you've drained your life essence and the vitality out of your system, at least for an hour or two. Now you're not productive, okay? You didn't set up there, you didn't drink some energy drinks, hyped yourself up, got on Instagram, saw some fucking woman shaking her ass, hopped on over to one of the more extreme sites, bust yourself off. Now you're about to smoke you something. Okay. Now you're about to smoke you something. I'm talking, this is the routine here. This is the routine. Now you smoke you something, you chilling. Okay. All the dopamine in the world that you've needed has been thrust upon you. Why would you want to accomplish anything else that day? As far as talking about myself, my cartoons, fitness goals, diorama stuff, the stuff for my gaming channel, all go by the wayside because I'm good. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Every vice that I have has been satiated. It gives me no motivation to change my current situation. And you get stuck in a routine. And this is the routine in a routine. And a lot of times we find ourselves living the same lives and not being able to change our lives. Oh, I'm sorry. Because we are comfortable with the routine. I'm comfortable with the routine, too comfortable with that routine. Instant gratification, but not prolonged gratification that would provide me with that house, let's say in a year's time. I'm just being talking about the earlier analogy because I put in the long-term effort to accomplish those things behind my body being disciplined enough to be able to translate that into selling certain products to my audience over there on other platforms, down to not being able to have this rush. Because you got to understand, y'all, when it comes to like something like pornography and why it's so detrimental even for the user, is because here it is. Okay, I'm bored. Okay, I have a fantasy in my head. Okay, pretty Asian woman, beautiful fucking toes, twerking it on the dick. Right, all this other stuff. I go type that in. The exact thing I'm talking about is gonna pop up right now. I didn't set up there and found this visual stimuli that my brain is just taking in. I do what I do to myself, and it's this explosive dopamine hit that can't be matched really by anything else I do throughout the day. See, the thing about us being the creatures that we are, is that we're constantly chasing dopamine. And if you're exploding your dopamine receptors with this salacious content, you're not going to be motivated to do the smaller tasks that give you these smaller hits of dopamine that will lead to prolonged gratification over time. And talking about myself, that goes to the cartoons, that goes to the different goals, the fitness goals and the channels and the different avenues uh avenues where I can generate revenue for myself to get myself out of my current situation. I haven't been putting enough time into it because of my vices and because of my complacency in being where I am and how I've been. I haven't set foot in nobody's gym in over a year, y'all. And y'all know I lived outside last year for about 3 months, and the gym became a necessary part of my day. That's why I shower, shit, and shave. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't even about working out anymore. It was about being able to go there to be presentable for society, go and do my job and not smell like a fucking dumpster. You know what I'm saying? Not be smelling like somebody's foot. And after getting this place and there's no gyms in the area, I just didn't feel like motivated enough to go all out of my way to go to somebody's gym to lift some weights. I had spent too much time in there. You understand? And so what was once a place where I could go and, relax and work out, build my muscle, let off some stress, is now someplace where it's just like, it reminds me of that. And not as much now. I need to get back in the gym to lift some heavier weights and put some more weight on my bones, but it is what it is. These are the things that have kept me stagnant as far as myself. And I recognize that a lot of times we don't accomplish our goals because we're the hindrance. There's no outside forces. It's not all these extra people. And what got me thinking like this is I had to get another scooter this week, y'all. This is my fourth scooter this year. Y'all remember The first scooter in January or February got stolen outside the fucking gas station. The second scooter, we had monsoon season, it got flooded out. And then the scooter I've been riding for up until a couple days ago, it the hinge on it broke. Not the hinge where it folds, but the actual place where the bar goes into the base of the scooter cracked open, and it was just a done deal. And I'm like, I got the worst goddamn luck with these vehicles, with these little vehicles. And it got me thinking when I started looking it up for another scooter. Damn, I really need to be looking for a car. What are we doing? Like, why haven't I been able to look for a car? Because I haven't put my mind's eye there to do that. I haven't set that goal up. And like I said in the beginning, set that goal up and start taking the actions necessary in order to accomplish. Oh, maybe I do want a Corvette next year. Maybe. And that's another thing I do. I'll always these maybes. There's never a concrete answer to what I want my goals to be. And sometimes that's also what keeps us stagnant and complacent. And complacency only works when it works. When you need that extra, like let's say this goes belly up, then it's me once again in survival mode. And when you grew up in poverty, a lot of times, like people like ourselves, we find ourselves functioning best in um, survival mode, which is not a good place to be. And even when we're out of survival mode, we're still in survival mode and we don't even realize it. And that's where I've been over the last year. That's why I feel like I've been stagnant. I haven't accomplished a lot of the stuff that I set out to accomplish because of that. And because I've allowed my vices to soothe me in a way that is a lot. So going forward, the reason I also want to make this video is because I am going to make a concerted effort to quit out on sugar. I am going to make a concerted effort to be an example of what can be accomplished even after the age of 40 because of discipline and because of setting a clear goal for yourself and what you want to do and putting behind that your best effort to get there. It may not come to fruition 1,000%, but write the shit down, put it out there in the universe, say it out loud, say what you want, say what you're trying to get. No maybes, no ifs, ands, or buts, and just go for it. And that's what I'm telling myself, and that's what I want to tell y'all. And I want y'all to be here to try to see me accomplish those things through my life journey or whatever it is. You know, I'm not trying to sound like this new age spiritual esoteric idiot, but it is what it is. That's what I'm feeling. And I do understand that a lot of why I haven't accomplished some of the things that in my head I feel like I should accomplish is because I haven't put the effort behind it. I'm comfortable with my job. I'm comfortable here. I'm comfortable with my vices, and I have to make myself uncomfortable and find comfort in other places. It used to be that my favorite vice was just playing some video games and spending a few hours doing that. Now my vices are a little bit more detrimental. Yeah, it's not cocaine, it's not gambling, it's not prostitutes or anything like that, but it is still just as life draining and essence draining. And that's why they make porn free. That's why it's so easily available. You understand? That's why you can go into most of these neighborhoods and there's convenience stores selling you all these highly sugar filled drinks to keep you satiated and complacent, where we should be these creatures where we're not always comfortable throughout the day. We're constantly trying to find comfort in these little bitty incremental steps that make our future, especially as elderly people as we become elderly, a lot more brighter and a lot more comfortable for ourselves, where we're not stuck in some home somewhere or worried if our kids are going to help us take care of us or the state's going to help take care of us. We can start working on that right now in our youth and in our middle age and get somewhere. But it is easier said than done because there are the pains that come along with that. I'm hungry than a bitch right now. Like I said, drinking energy drinks puts an extra 900, damn near 900 calories on my body. So my body don't see the difference between those calories and eating a whole meal. So lacking that, by now I would have already had an energy drink. That would be 300 extra calories that I've been putting on my body for no goddamn reason, just to satiate my mind and my body. You understand? And by the end of the day, those empty calories from these sugary drinks will equal well above 1,000 calories. Mostly because I'd also drink sodas too throughout the day. That's too much. That's too much at this point. Too much. And I know that that's there to poison me, and I'm conscious of that. And I need to cut that shit out. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. I'm sorry I didn't put out a video earlier in the week. My internet has been tripping on me. So even this video is probably going to go up a little bit later in the afternoon, but it is what it is. I'm glad you guys enjoy the content. A lot of you guys encouraged me to keep making the content through y'all words. I had one of my followers who, I hope she sees this. She's a little bit older, and she said something about her being washed and all this other stuff. She is far from fucking washed, and in fact, I like look up to a lot of her takes and a lot of things and stuff. And she has gotten accomplished a lot of out of life, and even at her age, she's still out here doing it, doing what a lot of younger women half her age wouldn't be able to accomplish. And for her to even be a person watching my content just kind of threw me back like, damn, I didn't even get you. Sometimes you don't know who's seeing you on the internet. You don't know how people are taking you on the internet. You just don't know. And because it's just the internet. I grew up in a time where you just push it up on the internet. It's not, but I don't, sometimes the shit reaches some places where you didn't think it was going to reach. And that's kind of crazy. And I just want to be a better example for the people that's watching these videos, and for even if my kids are watching this, especially them, and of course myself, I want to have some things out of this life that's just a little bit better. If you want better out of life, you gotta demand better. I woke up yesterday morning. I said, you know what? I just want better. I just want some better shit. Like I want a better situation. Why shouldn't I? I don't need to be going and serving tables if I don't have to. I have a lot of talent. That's not a necessary part of my day unless I make it a necessary part of my day. And I have made it a necessary part of my day. But going forward, 2026, 2027, I don't give a fuck about whatever the government and the world or whatever they got going on. I know what I got going on. I know what I want to accomplish. And I'm going to keep on that path. And with that being said, y'all, I'll catch y'all next time. Bye bye.